Hey guys, Al here. So quick update. This is a little food plot I have behind the house, and it goes right in line with the last podcast. So I wanted to share some information here. So first off, this is something that's been coming up a lot. This is a reseeding brassica. This is not yellow rocket. However, yellow rocket is a biannual noxious weed that will have a bolt year this year. It's having one. You'll see it in every field that's not brassicas, and it's bolting everywhere. So just something to identify. Obviously you can spray it 2,4-D or Butarac, I believe is what it is. We'll roast it from what I've been told, but just something to be cognizant of. So my main point here, guys, is this is a 1/4 acre food plot. What I have here, I'll try to show it to you. You have rye grain, you have turnips, you have red clover that's coming up that was planted. And the reason I'm showing this is because it's only a 1/4 acre. This is one of the prime examples of what we discussed in the last podcast. It doesn't really make sense for me to come in here and till this under for a springtime food plot. The reason being it's only a 1/4 acre. So if my goal is nutrition, it's only a 1/4 acre. I'm not going to add significant amount of nutrition in a 1/4 acre with a springtime food plot. I mean, deer pretty much have a lot to eat in the springtime as it is. So a 1/4 acre, say soybeans, very high protein, is not going to do very much from a deer's perspective. So what I would rather do is work on the soil here and then have it a really nice food plot in the fall. So what I'm going to do is let everything go. And just let it grow pretty much all spring, unless I decide to plant some buckwheat in here, which then in that case I'll just roll this. I'll just bring the tractor in here. I'll roll all this flat, let it just kind of decompose naturally. Some guys call it crimping. I don't have a crimper, so I'll just go over it over again. But in order to kind of break down some of the stems so it starts to decompose and naturally die, and then I'll overseed buckwheat into it, and the clover will be fine. It'll continue to grow and put nitrogen into the soil. But basically what I wanted to talk about is just in these situations where you have a small food plot, weigh the pros and cons of tilling that ground up, disturbing the ground, bringing more noxious weeds to the surface, planting a springtime food plot. If you really can just wait till fall and plant a great food plot. This is also a great way to establish clover plots. Plant them in the fall. Plant them with a rye grain. Plant some brassicas in there. The next year, you can terminate everything just by mowing, and the clover will take over. You can frost seed to add some additional clover to it as well. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to let it go. You got bees that'll come in here, help to pollinate some of my fruit trees here. These fruit trees are 4 years old, and they're going to be loaded with apples this year, it looks like, as long as we don't get any more snow here in Ohio. But yeah, I mean, this is something that's providing cover. I could see where a doe would come in here and be able to lay with a fawn. I mean, you can tell if I get down here, look at the ground level. It's pretty tall, and I mean, we're going to continue to see it grow. So I'm not going to touch it. I'm going to let the leaf litter sit. I'm going to let the clover go. I'm going to let these turnips reseed a little bit. And I mean, worst case scenario, I have to use herbicide this fall to get a kill down before I plant again, but I don't even think that's going to be necessary. I'm just going to let it go. Let the birds, the bees, everything feed on the seeds. I mean, deer are still browsing on some of these turnip sprouts that are coming off. Still got actually a couple little turnip bulbs here in the ground. So just a neat little thing to experiment with, and just something to consider when you're thinking about, should I till that 1/4 acre or 1/2 acre in, and what are the benefits of that versus just letting it go and being still utilized by deer. Deer are not going to not utilize this field, and possibly even utilize it more because it could be offering some fawn bedding and also be more beneficial to other wildlife. So a little bit different perspective, but something that you might want to consider next time you're thinking about putting in one of these hidey hole food plots. Good luck, guys. Be safe. Thanks for tuning in.